A good yontiv, everyone. Today is a celebrative day. It is the day in 1798 the Alter Rebbe was released from prison. It is the day that we begin again a new cycle of learning Tanya. The 19th and 20th of Kislev, a 2-day holiday celebrating our teacher, the Alter Rebbe. 53 days in prison, and what comes out of it is greater light. 53 chapters of the Tanya to teach us teachings that today are learned by more people than even in his day. Over Shabbos, I had a librarian that was here with us for Shabbos, and at the Kiddush, I asked him, what books in your library can you suggest to me that are books that were written 100 years ago, 200 years ago or more, and that are more avidly learned and studied today than even when they first came out? He couldn't think of a book. So I said to him, well, here's that book written over 200 years ago. Today, there are more students of the Alter Rebbe than there were in his day. And in a similar manner, a contemporary of the Alter Rebbe was Napoleon. Napoleon is much more well known over the world than the Alter Rebbe. Yet, who dresses like Napoleon today? Who is aware of the philosophy of Napoleon? Who is a follower of Napoleon today? You probably don't know anybody that dresses like him or his soldiers. Anybody that is a follower of Napoleon. But the Alter Rebbe has made such an impact that he has tens of thousands of followers even after 200 years have passed since his passing physically from this world. His spirit is alive. His teachings are alive. And because of that, we're alive. We don't just take up space and go through life, but we go through life in a meaningful way, in a beautiful way. Because Tanya, Alter Rebbe's teachings, are here with us today, more meaningful, more applicable today than ever before, and hence being embraced today by so many more people than ever before. Amazing. Welcome to Tanya today. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad Zurich Kadeshim in Montreal, Canada, where it's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. We begin a new cycle. A new cycle, and for many of you, it's a cycle that you've been through, some once, some twice, some even 3 times or more. But the teachings of Tanya remain forever fresh. They're not stale, even though we have learned it before. For some of you, it may be the first time that you're engaging in these teachings. And for sure, they'll be fresh and refreshing, giving life, making your day a different day. And that's what we're headed for in the cycle to come. And I invite you all to participate. Many of you have come forward and private message me that you are committed to go through the cycle once again, and you've given me your name. If you're Jewish, your Jewish name and your mother's Jewish name. If you're not Jewish, then your name and your father's name. And I will share it with our dear Rebbe at the Ohel. There will be blessings that you will gain from that. Great blessings. So do share that with me. So we begin with the title page. And the title page, very short, of course, but very full. I'm going to read it in Hebrew and translate it into English. Sefer Likutei Amarim, the book of compilation of teachings. The Alter Rebbe, in his humility, he just says it's a compilation of teachings. In other words, he's taking from all previous teachers' writings, as we'll see in a moment, and he's just compiling. Although it is something very novel, and for that reason he was imprisoned, yet in his humility and how he actually sees it, he's just an extension of previous generations and their teachings. Chelik Rishon. So it's called the Likutei Amarim. The Alter Rebbe didn't call it Tanya. The people kind of called it Tanya. Chelik Rishon, the first part is called Hanikra B'Shem, in the name of Sefer Shel Beinim, the Book of the Intermediate. As we will learn in great detail, chapters 10, 11, 12, and then onwards, the difference between a righteous person, a rasha, which we translated as an evil person. It really means it's on an adjective describing. It's more like a noun. That there's negativity on the soul of the individual. And we'll have two different levels in that. Just as in the righteous, there's two different levels. And then the Beinani. The Beinani intermediate is between the two. And as we will see, a Beinani means someone who struggles with negativity, with evil, but has the power, has the inner strength to overcome each time. As we will see more. Now, continues the Alter Rebbe and says, Meluka mepi svorim, mepi soifrim, kiddushay elyon. So this is a book that's compiled from sacred books. The sacred books are many, but the main ones are Maimonides, Rambam, the Maharal, Yehuda Leib, Lowy, who lived in Prague in the 17th century. And the Shloh, Shnei Luchos Abriz, Rabbi Horowitz, and those three books are the sacred books in particular that he is taking from. And also from teachers of heavenly saintliness, whose souls have passed on and they are in the Garden of Eden. And specifically was that the Baal Shem Tov, the founder of the Hasidic movement, who the Alter Rebbe referred to as Zaidi, even though he wasn't his biological grandfather, but he referred to him as grandfather, Zaidi in Yiddish. And the Magid, Mezitcher Magid, the bear of Mezerich, who was his Rabbi, his mentor, his teacher. So those two in specific. Now, this is Miyusat. This entire 53 chapters, the first part of Tanya, is based on one verse in Dvarim, in Deuteronomy. And that verse is, Ki karev elecha davar ma'ay, for this thing is very near to you. What's this thing? Torah and mitzvahs. This thing, our relationship with God, the service of God. It is very close to you. We will see two levels. We will see close, how it's close to you, and that will be the first 17 chapters, particularly chapters 12 through 17, will tell us how it's close. In other words, one would think naturally that a relationship with God, well, that's a difficult thing. It's not so close. No, we're going to see how it's close. And then chapters 18 through 25, we'll see how it is very close, not just close. And where is it close? In what manner is it close? What does it mean that it's close? What's close in our relationship with God and our service of God? In three areas, as the verse continues to say, in your mouth, in your heart to do. Now, what does that mean? So, in your mouth means in your speech. In other words, in your speech, in your everyday speech, this thing of relating to God, serving God, Torah mitzvahs, in your speech, it's close and very close. Furthermore, in your heart. Now the word heart over here has a double meaning. What is it? A double meaning? Heart? Heart's heart. Heart means your feelings. Doesn't mean just feelings in this verse. It also means your thoughts. What's the relationship between feelings and thoughts? Well, what you have a strong feeling about, that's what you think about. Things that you have no feelings of towards at all, you don't think about those things because you have no feelings towards it. Not strongly either way or mildly. You will not think about that thing, whatever it is. If you have a strong feeling, right, of love or the opposite of hate, you will think about that thing. So heart has a double meaning in this verse. It does mean heart, but right now let's leave it for thoughts. Okay? The heart part will come to. So it's very near to you, your connection, your service, your Torah mitzvahs, in your speech and in your thoughts to do. Action. So we have three things over here. Later we'll see, we will call them garments of the soul. Garments, just like a garment makes the man, the woman too, right? So we will see that the garments referring to thought, speech, and action, which is our behavior, is something that's very near to us, meaning that we have the capacity of self-mastery. Now, action, we understand that. Our actions we're responsible for. Even our speech we're responsible for. What we say. Our words, they matter. We have a responsibility for them. But even our thoughts. Now, as we will see later, our thoughts are not about the thought that enters our mind, because then we don't have any control, because that's directly from our heart. We don't have control over that. But the thought that we willfully choose to continue, and if it's a negative thought, we're responsible for that. If it's a wrong thought, an appropriate thought, and that it entered our mind, we don't have control. The righteous do, but not the Beinoni. The Beinoni struggles with it, but can deal with it and push it away, that negative thought. So that's the area that we're going to have self-mastery in. Continues, the Alter Rebbe says, and we'll explain at great length, how it's exceedingly near, both in a lengthy and a short way, with the aid of the Only One, blessed be He. So we will, lengthy, we will see, is chapters 12 through 17. The 6 chapters will explain to us the lengthy way means through the usage of the mind. That the mind has dominion over the heart. We will learn that concept. We will learn how we can have dominion over our heart. But that's a lengthy process because you need to learn a lot. You need to know a lot. You have to engage your mind a lot in order that it can ultimately have dominion over the heart. And then the short way, short is in the sense that it's already there. You just have to access what you've got. your mind, that it is full of the awareness of God, knowing God. Well, it's not there until you know. But when it comes to the soul that already has an inherent innate love for God, well, that's there. So in that sense, it's short. It's short way because you already have it. It's been provided for you by God Almighty in your soul, that inherent love of God. He's going to teach us in chapters 18 through 25 how we access it, how it's also, and therefore makes it close to us, very close to us, as a matter of fact. This thing called God, this thing called the service of God, this thing called Torah mitzvahs, this thing called self-mastery. One verse for 53 chapters, pretty amazing. And with that, we conclude the title page. Continues the Alter Rebbe with approbations. He has an approbation from two individuals and then his sons. The first one is from Meshulam Zusha of Anipol, the famous Zusha, Reb Zusha from Anipol. And he writes in his approbation that he's seen the writings of this Rabbi Goin, godly man, saintly and pure, luminous lens. And God in his wonderful kindness has placed in his pure heart, the Alter Rebbe's pure heart, the strength to be able to do all of this, to write the Tanya, and to show the people of God's people the holy way to go into, to follow. And the Alter Rebbe's intention was not to publish these writings, for it's not his custom to be a publisher of books. But what happened was there were many pamphlets of his teachings that were copied by hand in the late 1700s, and many transcripts that were copy errored, and it was multiplied exceedingly, the errors of the copies. And as Reb Zusha says, some were even not well intended, because there were those who were against his teachings. So therefore, it came to a point that it had to be printed. And in the spirit of two partners, outstanding and distinguished scholar, Shalom Shachna, son-in-law, an outstanding and distinguished scholar, Reb Mordechai, Mordechai Gorowitz, who was the printer at Shklov, they have put out money to print this, and therefore no one should print this book for 5 years. First of all, that they will be able to get back their output of expenses, so no one should print it. And furthermore, this way it'll be printed appropriately with no errors. And this needs to be listened to, that no one should print this book for 5 years without the permission of the printers. And he concludes his approbation, saying the cotton, the small, humble, Meshulam Zusha of Anipol. Second approbation is from Yehuda Leib HaKayeh. He's the author of Or HaGanuz. And he similarly says about the greatness of the Alter Rebbe and his teachings. And he also says the same point, that no one should print this book for 5 years without the permission of the printers, in order that they can, again, as we mentioned previously, well, she doesn't mention any reason, but no one should do it. And he signs Yehuda Leib Hakayim. And the final approbation is from his sons. And they add over here, because this approbation actually came after the passing of their father, the Alter Rebbe. And they just add that they added something to this, because originally it was really the first 3 parts of Tanya. There was the first 53 chapters, Sefer Shabbanim. Then there was Shar Yichud Ve'amunah, 12 chapters about creation, and then 12 chapters of Gersa Tshuva, the epistle about Tshuva, about repentance. And now was added the 4th part, called the Gersa Kodesh, the Holy Epistle, letters, 32 different letters of the Alter Rebbe. He sent out to the community in the way that people should walk in, the path that they should take, and explaining things, in greater depth in some areas, where in other places it might be scanty explanation, so it gives greater explanation. And also the 5th and final part, Kuntres Achrein, the later booklet, which is bringing profound discussions and insights into passages from the Zohar, the Eitz Chaim, pre-Eitz Chaim, that appear to contradict each other, and they're resolved in these 9 chapters or 9 essays of Kuntres Achrei. And again, saying that no one should reprint this book for 5 years, and this is then declared by the three sons, Dov Ber, who is the Mittler Rebbe, became the Rebbe after the Alter Rebbe, Chaim Avram, and Moshe. And with that, we conclude our beginning. A wonderful, beautiful beginning. And as the Rebbe Rashab, the 5th Lubavitcher Rebbe, said about Yutes Kislev, it's a Rosh Hashanah l'Chassidus, the Torah Chassidus, the Darkei Chassidus. It is the Rosh Hashanah. It's the new year. It's like the beginning. Like just the new year. It's a new opportunity, new light of God that enters into the world. So now there's a new light of the teachings of Chassidus and the path of Chassidus. And we're all a part of that. How beautiful that is. Gejamtiv. Lashana, Tova, Gejamtiv, a good year. For a good year. V'limer Chassidus, v'darkei Chassidus, tikasevu v'sechasemu. In the teachings of Chassidus and the path of Chassidus, that you should be written and sealed for a good new year. That's how awesome this day is, and how awesome it is that you're all here together, that we can start this new cycle. Let's see if there's any questions here. What is covered in Tanya as opposed to Zohar? Well, the Tanya is a very methodical method of understanding the makeup of you, the works of heaven, your purpose in life, and what God created the world for altogether. Very, chapter by chapter, line by line even, but chapter by chapter, and you're seeing how we take from one step to the other. The Zohar will contain all of that, but not in a methodical manner of of teachings, which is usually the way Torah is taught. Yeah, you have the Torah portion of the week. Each one has its message, but there isn't there might be a common thread, and you can see progression, but it's not obvious. The Alter Rebbe's teachings is very obvious, as we will see. Thank you for that. Anna. Okay, not clear. Thank you, Joseph, for that question. And I'm not certain if you had a question or... Will we still studying Tanya after Mashiach comes? Absolutely. Since our hearts are circumcised and all shown to us, we will learn it. We will learn it. We will live it even more than we live it now. But we will learn it, but we will see it come forth the ideas of Tanya, is in the mind's eye. Mashiach comes, it'll be in our physical eye. Excellent, thank you. Sandy, where can I get a copy of the Tanya? Is there an English version? You can go online, Lessons in Tanya, in kahot.org, KEHOT.org. You can get it there, absolutely. John, did the 53 chapters arise from the 53 questions asked during the incarceration? I don't think there were 53 questions he was asked. I think it was about 30. I don't recall. I know where did you get John 53 from? I never saw that. Andrew, was Tanya given to us for study at each of our own level? Absolutely. Each one of us are going to learn it, understand it at our own level. Absolutely, no question about it. And that's, part and parcel of, but we need to try to grow and understand it deeper, more profoundly. Angie, you've been with us for a while, so yeah, the new cycle will be even a deeper and more beautiful understanding. Yes, thank you, John. You'll find the source. Let me know. Amazing. Folks, I've said this before, and I mean it, so I say it again. I'm very humbled by all of you. The fact that I'm dedicated to doing this, whatever, it's like, but that you're dedicated, that's beautiful. There's a way that we can work on getting more people to be dedicated. We're starting now. Think of one person, not 5. Start with one. One person that you could touch them, that they would start to learn. People are, Jewish people in particular, because of what's going on in Israel, are much more sensitive to their soul today than ever before. Their Jewish identity, to being Jewish, to having Judaism a part of their lives in an unbelievable way. And so approach a Jew and ask them, to do something, do a mitzvah. We're doing a campaign for the hostages. For Yagev. Or for Ofer. For Amit. And 100 more plus that are still hostage. Adopt a hostage and do a mitzvah for them. So I'm suggesting here maybe let's adopt a hostage and do a mitzvah for them of getting someone to learn Tanya. Of course, there's many mitzvahs, so whatever mitzvah is always good. All right. I'm Rabbi Fine, coming to you for Chabad, Zichron and Kadesh, Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. Have an amazing, great day. Thank you for joining. And the journey is just beginning.